Chapter 3 by me. Zara reappears and escorts me into the lavish bathroom. She explains the different soaps at my insistence, that I can bathe myself. Zara leaves saying she would be just outside if I need anything. After removing my clothes, I step into the warm water. I sink down into the tub. I slowly rest my head on my knees as I try to clear my thoughts. After I finish bathing, I wrap myself in the thick robe that Zara had left for me. I walk back out into the other room. The women are sitting together, cheerfully chatting. They become very quiet once they see me. Sarah smiles at me. She says, "I'm sure you feel much better now. Shall we try the dress?" Sarah hands me the different undergarments. After I slip them on under my robe, they help me into the dress, even though I kept protesting that I could dress myself. Zara exclaims, "You're behaving much like a young one. There is no shame in us helping you dress. That is why we are here," I sigh. "Yes, I know that, but I'm not a child. And I don't need your help doing this." Sarah says they're perfect. As she yanks the gown down the rest of my body, I look at both of them and then back down at the dress. I say, "This is way too big. I think we'll have..." "What?" I gasp as the dress suddenly shrinks to fit me perfectly. Sarah giggles at my reaction. She says, "It is Ligurian silk. The fabric instantly shrinks or stretches to fit whoever wears it." Looking down at the dress, I mumble, "Fascinating." After curling my hair, Zara says, "Come see how beautiful you look, my lady." She leads me to a wall and another panel. A full-length mirror is revealed. I gaze at myself, not recognizing the person standing there. I touch my face in shock. This was too much. The person standing there looked like she was in her early or mid-20s. I looked younger and thinner. Turning in a circle, I couldn't believe my own eyes. Eyes that were an eerie pale green. Part of me was exhilarated and the other half was trembling with fear. I cry, "What have you done to me? What kind of experiments? How is this possible?" I didn't even hear Zan enter the room. He answers me, "There has been no experiments performed on you, my lady." Looking at him, I ask, "Then how is it that I look younger, thinner? Is it the dress or the mirror? And what about my eyes?" "What?" Zan looks away, then says, "We shall go to meet the captain. He will explain everything, my lady." I glare at him, feeling angry and helpless. I was very, very tired of not having my questions answered. Instead of showing how afraid I was, I pushed it down, hanging on to my anger and using that to appear brave. I didn't want to let them see how scared I really was feeling. I thought this captain better answer my questions, and soon. I stormed up to Zan, looking him in the eyes. I say, "Well, after you," motioning to the door. One of Zan's eyebrows arch, and he nods his head. Then he turns, walking out of the room. We walk in silence with the guards following right behind us. Zan leads me down several different hallways until we come to a large door. I follow Zan inside, with the guards remaining outside. We were standing inside a large dining room. There was a table set up with 3 sitting places. I stand there anxiously awaiting what was to come next. A man dressed in a pale blue uniform walks towards us. He is tall with a stern look on his face. He looked like he was 35 years old, but his eyes seemed much older. He stands a few feet from me. Zan says, "Allow me to introduce you. This is Captain Arton." Looking back at me, he smiles. "And this is the Lady Dorothy." Captain Arton bows to me, then motions towards the table. Shall we sit? I had the chef prepare some of its finest dishes for you. I do hope you will enjoy our food. Captain Arton walks over to the table, pulling out a chair for me. I glance at Zan, who nods, then back to the captain, and sat down in the offered chair. After I was seated, both Zan and Captain Arton takes their seats. The captain makes a motion with his hand, and several women start bringing out the food. Hoping to finally have my answers, I look down at the plate of food being placed in front of me. Not recognizing anything, I ask in a rush, "Why have you kidnapped me? What do you want from me?" I look at Captain Arton, waiting for an answer. Completely at my breaking point, he says, "We shall eat first, my lady. Then all your questions will be answered." I pushed a plate of food away from me as I glare at him, saying, "I have waited long enough, and I demand to know why I am here." He sighs as he takes a sip of the green drink that had been poured for him. He places the glass back down and slowly replies, "Very well. Although this is not our way of conducting things, I know this has been a huge change for you. There is much to explain. You will have your answers, but first I will tell you a story. A story about our people, the Garlandians, and our past." It was odd the way he said "our people," like they were mine too. "The planet you are on is called Isira. Many years ago, our people were at war with another tribe called the Arthenians. Our tribe was a peaceful one. We did not even have a single warrior among us, scientists, artists, scholars, and so on." He pauses, standing up, then slowly walks to the window, looking out of it. He continues, "How old do you think I am, Dorothy?" I look at him. I look at his back. I would say 30 or 35 years old. His head slowly turns to the side, a small smile on his face. He says, "That young? My years are much longer than that. I am 200 years old." I gasp. "That's impossible." I press my lips together, not having meant to say that. The captain continues, "The people on this planet live much longer here. Zan can explain it better to you than I. We age very slowly and can live to be 500 years old." He continues, "I wish you could have seen our planet before the war began." He paused for a second, seeming deep in thought before continuing, "I was there before the war began, and I have watched what it has done to our people. King Orlean was losing the war. As I had said, we were not warriors. We believed if the Arthenians won that, they would murder or enslave his family. So he had a scientist look throughout the galaxy for an inhabitable planet, one similar to our own, and they found yours. So in secret, we began preparing his family for the travel to Earth." I interrupt him, saying, "But I don't understand what any of this has to do with me." Captain Arton sighs, "Patience, my dear. You will soon enough." Where was I? Zan whispers, "The rural family preparing for Earth." He nods. "Everything was done in secret. Only those that were needed knew about the plans. He feared that if the Artenians ever learned of this, that they would follow them to Earth. I was one of the few chosen. My father had been the king's best friend. I was like a son to him, and he a father to me. Anyway, the royal family left for their new home. The king remained here in hopes of winning the war, so that one day his family could return. But we did not study the effects of Earth's atmosphere would have on their bodies. Their life was shortened, only living a few years past 100. So for the royal bloodline not to die, they took human mates, hoping that one day their descendants would return and retake the throne. King Orlean did not know that one day he would be able to make a peace treaty with the Arthenians, a shaky one at that. If he had known, he would have never sent them away. Before King Orlean passed away, he left sorry about that. Before King Orlean passed away, he left me the responsibility of finding his kin and bringing home his heir to the throne. Captain Arton turns around looking at me. He says, "Dorothy, your true name is Princess Nashia. You are the descendant. You are that descendant. You are the only one left of the royal bloodline. It has taken me 50 years to honor my king's request."